I watched my mother's hands shake as she held the lighter to the corner of my contract. $3 million. 3 years of sleepless nights, rejected pitches, and clawing my way up from nothing. The paper caught fire, and she didn't even flinch. "If you won't share it with your sister," she said, her voice cold as winter steel, "then nobody gets it. My name is Victoria Chen, and I'm about to tell you how my own mother tried to destroy my life, and how she ended up destroying her own instead. Before we dive into this story, let me ask you something. Where are you watching from right now? Drop your location in the comments below. I love seeing where my stories reach. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button because trust me, you're going to want to see how this unfolds. Now, let me take you back to where it all started. Boston, Massachusetts, February 2023. I was 28 years old, sitting in my cramped studio apartment in Allston, staring at an email that would change everything. Subject line: "Congratulations, partnership agreement enclosed." I'd been working as a freelance software developer for 6 years, building apps and platforms for startups that usually crashed and burned before their first funding round. But 8 months earlier, I'd pitched an idea to a venture capital firm during a tech conference at the Boston Convention Center. It was an AI-powered logistics platform designed specifically for small businesses, something that could compete with the big players but at a fraction of the cost. They'd loved it. More than loved it. They wanted to invest $3 million for a 40% stake in my company. The email attachment contained the official partnership agreement, complete with payment schedules, equity breakdowns, and a start date of March 1st. I read that email 17 times before I let myself believe it was real. My hands were shaking when I called my mom. I shouldn't have. Looking back now, I can see that so clearly. But in that moment, all I wanted was for someone to be proud of me. My father had passed away from a heart attack when I was 19, and my mother, Linda Chen, had raised me and my younger sister, Emily, in a 3-bedroom ranch house in Quincy. "Mom," I said when she picked up, trying to keep my voice steady, "I need to tell you something big." There was a pause. I could hear the television in the background, one of those home renovation shows she was always watching. "What is it, Victoria? I'm watching my program." "I got the deal. The $3 million investment I told you about last year. They want to partner with me. They're sending the contract today." Silence. Then, $3 million? "Yes, for my company. The logistics platform I've been developing. This is it, Mom. This is everything I've been working toward." I expected excitement. Maybe tears. At minimum, a congratulations. What I got instead made my stomach drop. "Well," she said slowly, "that's wonderful news for the family. Emily's been struggling with her student loans, and I could finally get that kitchen renovation I've been putting off. When do we get the money?" I blinked hard, confusion flooding through me. "What do you mean, we? This is my company, Mom. My investment." "Victoria Ann Chen, don't you dare take that tone with me." Her voice shifted, taking on that sharp edge I knew from childhood. "Your father and I raised you. We paid for your education. We supported you through all those failed projects. This money is a family blessing, and families share their blessings." "I paid my own way through UMass," I said, my voice getting tighter. "I worked 3 jobs during college. You and Dad helped with books one semester, and I paid you back the following summer. That's not how I remember it. Mom, that's how it happened. I have the bank statements, and this investment isn't liquid cash. It's equity investment in my company. I can't just hand out checks." "Then you'll figure it out," she said firmly. "Your sister needs help with her loans. She's 25 years old and drowning in debt from that art history degree. You're the successful one. You have to help her." I closed my eyes. Emily had graduated from Boston University 3 years earlier with $70,000 in student loan debt and a degree she'd never used. She'd bounced between coffee shops and retail jobs, always talking about her art, but never actually producing anything. Meanwhile, I'd been coding 18-hour days in a studio apartment that smelled like the Indian restaurant downstairs. "I'll help Emily when I can," I said carefully. But this is a business investment, not a lottery win. I need to focus on building the company first. Family comes first, Victoria. Or did you forget that? I didn't forget anything, but I can't give away equity in my company before it even launches. That's not how this works. My mother's voice went icy. We'll see about that. Come to dinner on Sunday. We need to discuss this as a family. She hung up before I could respond. That Sunday dinner changed everything. I should have known better than to go, but some part of me, the part that still wanted my mother's approval, convinced me that maybe she just needed time to understand how startup investments actually worked. I drove to Quincy in my 11-year-old Honda Civic, the check engine light glowing like a warning I should have heeded. When I walked into the house, Emily was already there, sitting at the kitchen table with her laptop open. She looked up and gave me a weak smile. Hey, Vic, congrats on the big deal. Thanks, Em. My mother appeared from the living room, wearing her church clothes even though it was just a family dinner. That should have been my second warning sign. Victoria, sit down. I made pot roast. The three of us sat around the same wooden table where we'd eaten thousands of meals. My father's chair remained empty. My mother had never let anyone sit in it after he died. The pot roast was dry the way it always was, but I forced myself to eat while my mother watched me like a hawk studying a field mouse. So, she said finally, setting down her fork, let's talk about this investment money. It's not money, Mom. It's equity investment in... $3 million is $3 million, Victoria. Don't try to confuse me with your fancy business talk. She folded her hands on the table. I've been thinking about this very carefully. The fair thing to do is split it 3 ways. 1 million for you, 1 million for Emily, and 1 million for me. I stared at her. You can't be serious. I'm completely serious. That's what families do. They share. Emily shifted uncomfortably in her chair but said nothing. Mom, listen to me very carefully, I said, fighting to keep my voice level. This is not prize money. This is a venture capital investment in my software company. They're giving me $3 million in exchange for 40% ownership of the business. That means I don't get $3 million in cash. That money goes into the company's operating account to cover development costs, marketing, employee salaries, office space. So there is money, my mother interrupted. Yes, but it's the company's money, not my personal... And you own 60% of this company. Yes, but... Then 60% of $3 million is yours to do with as you please. That's $1,800,000. Plenty to share with your family. I set down my fork. That's not how any of this works. If I take money out of the company's operating account for personal use, I'm committing fraud. The investors would sue me. I could go to prison. My mother's eyes narrowed. Don't be dramatic. I'm not being dramatic. This is basic corporate law. The investment money has to be used for the business. My income comes from the salary I pay myself as CEO, which will be $90,000 annually for the first 2 years. $90,000, Emily said softly. That's a lot of money, Vic. It's a reasonable salary for a startup CEO in Boston, I said. And after taxes and living expenses... After taxes and living expenses, you'll have plenty to help your sister, my mother cut in. She needs $30,000 to pay off her highest interest loans. That's all we're asking. Right now, I'm asking for $30,000, I said. But what about next year? What about when the company starts generating revenue? Are you going to expect me to split that too? My mother stood up abruptly. I raised you better than this. I raised you to care about family, to help the people who helped you. Your father would be ashamed of the selfish person you've become. Those words hit like a physical blow. I felt tears burning in my eyes, but I refused to let them fall. Dad would understand, I said quietly. He ran his own electrical contracting business. He understood how business investments work. Your father would want you to help your sister. I looked at Emily, who was staring at her plate, her face red. Em, tell me something. Did you ask Mom to do this, or is this all her idea? Emily's voice was barely a whisper. I mentioned I was struggling with my loans. That's all. And I'm trying to help my daughter, my mother said. Both of my daughters, but apparently, one of them has forgotten where she came from. I stood up. I haven't forgotten anything, but I'm not giving away $30,000. I don't have to make you feel better about the choices Emily made with her education. Get out, my mother said, her voice shaking with rage. Get out of my house. Mom, I said get out. I left. Emily followed me to the driveway, wrapping her cardigan tight around her thin frame against the February cold. Vic, wait, I'm sorry. I didn't mean for this to turn into such a thing. I turned to face her. Em, I love you. You're my sister. But you're 25 years old, and you need to figure out your own life. I can't rescue you every time things get hard. I'm not asking you to rescue me, She stopped, tears running down her face. Never mind, forget it. Go build your empire. She went back inside, and I drove home to my studio apartment, my hands shaking on the steering wheel. The contract arrived by FedEx 3 days later. 27 pages of legal documentation, partnership terms, payment schedules, and equity agreements. I sat at my tiny kitchen table and read every single word, my heart pounding with excitement and terror. This was real. This was actually happening. I signed every page, initialed every clause, and prepared to send it back via overnight mail. But first, I wanted to make copies for my records. My printer was broken. It had been broken for 6 months, so I drove to a FedEx office near Harvard Square to use their copy services. That decision saved my life, or at least it saved my future. I made 3 copies of the entire contract, placed the original in a FedEx envelope addressed to the venture capital firm in New York, and drove home feeling like I was floating 6 inches off the ground. Tomorrow, this would be official. Tomorrow, my life would begin. When I got back to my apartment building, I saw my mother's silver Toyota Camry parked illegally in the loading zone. My stomach clenched. I sat in my car for a full minute, debating whether to just drive away. But this was my home. I wasn't going to be scared away from my own home. I walked upstairs to find my mother sitting on the floor outside my apartment door, her purse in her lap. Mom, what are you doing here? She looked up and I was shocked to see tears on her face. I came to apologize. What I said the other day about your father being ashamed, that was cruel. I'm sorry, Victoria. Some of the tension eased from my shoulders. It's okay, Mom. I know you're worried. About Emily. Can we talk inside? Please? I unlocked the door and let her in. My studio apartment was exactly what you'd expect from a struggling entrepreneur. A Murphy bed, a makeshift desk made from a door and 2 filing cabinets, and about $6,000 worth of computer equipment taking up most of the floor space. My mother looked around with barely concealed disapproval. You're living like a college student. I'm investing everything back into the business. Once the funding comes through, I'll be able to afford a better place. She nodded slowly, then noticed the FedEx envelope on my desk. Is that the contract? Yeah, I'm mailing it back tomorrow. It's official. Can I see it? I should have said no. Every instinct I had screamed at me to say no. But she was my mother, and her eyes were red from crying, and I wanted so badly to believe that she was genuinely trying to understand. Sure, I said, and handed her the envelope. She pulled out the contract and started flipping through pages, her eyes scanning the dense legal text. I went to the tiny kitchenette to make tea, watching her from the corner of my eye. This is very impressive, Victoria, she said quietly. Your father really would have been proud. Thanks, Mom. All these numbers and percentages. It's like reading a foreign language. Most of it is just standard legal protection for both parties. The important parts are the investment amount, the equity stake, and the payment schedule. She kept reading. Then she pulled out her phone. What are you doing? I asked. Just taking a picture of one of the pages. For Emily, I want to show her what you've accomplished. Mom, that contract is confidential. You can't... I'm just taking a picture for your sister, Victoria. Don't be so paranoid. She took 3 photos before I could cross the room and take the contract back. Those documents are protected by an NDA, I said, my voice tight. You can't share them with anyone. It's just Emily, my mother said, her tone dismissive. She's family. That doesn't count. Yes, it does count. Mom, I need you to delete those photos, right now. Her expression hardened. Don't tell me what to do, Victoria. I'm still your mother. And this is still my contract. Delete the photos. No. We stared at each other, the air between us crackling with tension. Finally, I pulled out my own phone and called my lawyer, a law school friend who'd helped me set up my LLC for a discounted rate. Jake, it's Victoria. I need you to send me the NDA language from my investment contract. Someone just photographed confidential pages, and I need them to understand the legal implications. My mother's eyes widened. You're calling your lawyer on your own mother. You just violated my non-disclosure agreement. For God's sake, Victoria, delete the photos, Mom, please. She stood up, grabbing her purse. You've changed. Ever since you got this deal, you've become someone I don't even recognize. Cold, selfish, obsessed with money. This isn't about money. This is about my future, my company, my work. Your work, she repeated bitterly. Everything is about your work. What about family? What about the people who loved you before you were successful? I'm not successful yet, Mom. I'm just getting started. And I need you to support me, not sabotage me. Sabotage you? Her voice rose. I'm trying to teach you about priorities, about what actually matters in life. But you're so busy playing businesswoman that you can't see what's right in front of you. What are you talking about? She pulled out her phone and held it up, showing me the photos she'd taken. These numbers here? This payment schedule? This proves you're getting money in 30 days. Real money that you could use to help your sister, but you're choosing not to. I closed my eyes. That's the company's operating capital, not my personal. I don't care about your excuses anymore, she said. You have a choice to make, Victoria. Your family or your precious company. You can't have both. That's not a fair choice. Life isn't fair. Choose. I choose my company. The words came out before I could stop them. My mother's face went white, then red. Fine, she said. Then you're choosing to be alone. Don't call me. Don't come to family dinners. You're not welcome in my house until you're ready to act like part of this family. She walked out, slamming the door hard enough to rattle the windows. I stood there in the silence of my apartment, the contract still in my hands, wondering if I'd just made the biggest mistake of my life. I mailed the contract the next morning. The FedEx tracking showed it was delivered to the New York office at 10:47 a.m. By 2:00 p.m., I received an email from the lead partner confirming receipt and welcoming me to their portfolio of companies. The first transfer of funds, $750,000, would hit my business account within 10 business days. I should have been celebrating. Instead, I felt hollow. Emily texted me that night, "Mom's really hurt. She's been crying all day. Please just apologize and fix this." I didn't respond. What was I supposed to apologize for? For not giving away money I didn't have? For protecting my business interests? For having boundaries? The 10 days crawled by. I threw myself into preparation work, finalizing the company's business plan, beginning recruitment for my first 2 employees, and scouting office spaces in Cambridge. Every night, I dreamed about that first transfer hitting my account. $750,000. It felt like Monopoly money, like something that couldn't possibly be real. On day 9, Emily called me. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. "Vic, we need to talk." "I'm busy, Em." "Mom's planning something. I don't know what exactly, but she's been on the phone with Uncle Richard, and she keeps talking about teaching you a lesson. I thought you should know." Uncle Richard was my mother's brother, a personal injury lawyer in Worcester who specialized in taking on cases other lawyers wouldn't touch. He was aggressive, unethical, and had been sued for malpractice twice. "Thanks for the warning," I said carefully, "but there's nothing she can do. The contract is signed and filed." "I don't know, Vic." She seemed really confident when she was talking to him. Just be careful, okay? I will. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about my mother's face when she'd looked at my contract, the way she'd taken those photos. Something felt wrong, but I couldn't put my finger on what. The next morning, day 10, I woke up to 17 missed calls and 9 voicemails. My heart hammering, I checked my email first. Subject, emergency contract issue. From Gerald Morrison, lead partner. Victoria, please call me immediately. We've received documentation suggesting significant misrepresentation in your business proposal. We need to discuss this urgently before we proceed with any fund transfers. My hands went numb. I called Gerald's direct line with shaking fingers. Victoria, he answered on the first ring, I need you to explain something to me. In your original pitch and all subsequent documentation, you stated that you were the sole creator and owner of the logistics software platform we're investing in. Is that correct? Yes, that's absolutely correct. I built the entire platform myself over 3 years. Then can you explain why I received a cease and desist letter this morning from an attorney named Richard Chen, claiming that his client, your mother, Linda Chen, holds a 50% ownership stake in your intellectual property? The world tilted sideways. I sat down hard on my kitchen floor. That's not true. That's completely false. My mother has nothing to do with my company. The letter includes what appears to be a signed agreement between you and your mother, dated 3 years ago, stating that she provided initial funding for your business in exchange for 50% equity. They're threatening legal action if we proceed with the investment. That agreement doesn't exist. I never signed anything like that. Victoria, I need you to listen to me very carefully. If there's any truth to this claim, any ownership disputes we weren't informed about, this represents a material misrepresentation of your company's ownership structure. That's grounds for immediate termination of our agreement. There's no truth to it whatsoever. This is a fabrication. My mother is trying to sabotage my company because I wouldn't give my sister money. Gerald was quiet for a long moment. This is a very serious allegation. I know it sounds crazy, but I swear to you on everything I have that I am the sole owner of my company and my software. My mother has never invested a single dollar in my business. Can you prove that? Yes, I have bank statements showing every deposit and expense for the past 3 years. I have copyright registrations for my code. I have everything documented. Get me that documentation by end of business today, until we can verify your ownership claim and determine if this cease and desist has any legal merit. All fund transfers are on hold. He hung up. I sat on my kitchen floor staring at my phone, trying to process what had just happened. My mother had forged an ownership agreement. She'd created fake documents claiming she owned half my company, and she'd sent them to my investors specifically to destroy my deal. I called Jake, my lawyer friend, and explained everything. His response was immediate and harsh. You need to get a real lawyer, not me. Someone who specializes in business litigation and intellectual property disputes. This is way beyond my expertise. He gave me 3 names. I called all of them. The only one who could see me that day was a woman named Patricia Alvarez, a senior partner at a mid-sized firm in downtown Boston. Her consultation fee was $500 an hour. I didn't have $500 an hour, but I didn't have a choice. Patricia Alvarez was in her mid-50s with silver-streaked hair and the kind of direct eye contact that made you want to confess all your sins. I sat in her corner office overlooking the financial district and laid out the entire situation. The investment, my mother's demands, the photos she'd taken of my contract, and now this cease and desist letter claiming she owned half my company. Patricia listened without interrupting, making notes on a yellow legal pad. When I finished, she set down her pen and leaned back in her chair. First question, did your mother ever give you any money for your business? Any amount at any time, even as a gift? No, never. Did she ever review your code, provide business advice, or contribute to the development of your software in any way? No. Do you have any written communications with her discussing the business? I thought about that. Email threads where I told her about my progress, texts where she asked how things were going. Nothing about ownership or investment. That's good. What about the photos she took of your contract? Do you know what she did with them? I assume she gave them to her brother, the lawyer who sent the cease and desist. Patricia nodded. Here's what I think happened. Your mother took those photos to understand the structure and value of your deal. She then worked with her brother to create a fraudulent ownership agreement backdated to before you started developing your software. The goal is to either force you to share the investment money with her or destroy the deal entirely out of spite. Can she do that? Can she actually kill my investment with fake documents? She can create chaos and delay, which is almost as damaging. Your investors aren't going to transfer $3 million while there's an active ownership dispute, even a frivolous one. And the longer this drags out, the more likely they are to just walk away and invest in someone less complicated. I felt sick. So what do? We fight back, hard and fast. I'm going to send a response to your uncle's firm demanding they produce evidence of their claims. The original signed agreement, proof of your mother's investment, documentation of her contribution to the business. They won't be able to produce any of it because it doesn't exist. Then we're going to threaten them with a lawsuit for tortious interference with business relations, fraud, and defamation. Will that work? It should. Your uncle is a personal injury lawyer, not a corporate attorney. He's out of his depth here. Once he realizes this could blow back on him legally, he'll likely advise your mother to drop it. And if he doesn't, then we file the lawsuit and go scorched earth. But it won't come to that. This is a bluff, Victoria. A very cruel, very desperate bluff. But a bluff, nonetheless. I nodded, trying to believe her. How much is this going to cost me? My retainer is $15,000. Based on the complexity, you're looking at $25,000 to $35,000 total if this goes to active litigation. I didn't have $25,000. I barely had $5,000 in my personal savings. But what choice did I have? Do it, I said. Whatever it takes. Patricia got to work immediately. By 6 p.m. that evening, she'd sent a 12-page letter to Richard Chen's office, systematically dismantling every claim in his cease and desist and threatening severe legal consequences if the false allegations weren't withdrawn within 48 hours. She also sent a comprehensive package to Gerald Morrison at the VC firm, including 3 years of my bank statements, my copyright registrations, my original business plan, and a detailed timeline proving I was the sole creator and owner of my software. Then we waited. 47 hours later, I got a call from my mother. "You turned a lawyer on me," she said, her voice shaking. "Your own mother. You forged documents claiming you own my company. What did you expect me to do?" "I expected you to do the right thing. I expected you to help your family instead of choosing money over the people who love you." "You don't love me, Mom. People who love you don't try to destroy everything you've worked for." "I was trying to teach you a lesson about humility, about gratitude, about—" "You were trying to steal from me," I cut in. "You created fake ownership documents and sent them to my investors. That's fraud, Mom. That's a felony. Don't you dare talk to me like I'm a criminal." "Then stop acting like one. Drop this fake ownership claim or my lawyer is going to bury you in litigation." "You would really sue your own mother?" "You really tried to destroy my company. So yes, I would." She was crying now. "I gave you life, Victoria. I raised you. I sacrificed everything for you and your sister. And this is how you repay me? You didn't sacrifice everything for me. You sacrificed some things like all parents do. But I don't owe you my entire future because you did the bare minimum of raising the child you chose to have." "The bare minimum?" Her voice rose to a shriek. "The bare minimum? I worked 2 jobs after your father died. I gave up dating, gave up my own dreams, gave up everything to make sure you and Emily had food and clothes and a roof over your heads. And I appreciate that, I really do. But appreciation doesn't mean I have to give you half my company. It doesn't mean I have to bankrupt my business to pay off Emily's loans. It means I say thank you and I try to be there for you when you need me. But this isn't need, this is greed. Silence. Then, if you go through with this lawsuit, you'll never see me again, or your sister. We'll be done, forever. Then I guess we're done. I hung up. 2 hours later, Patricia called. Richard Chen just withdrew the cease and desist. He sent over a one-sentence email. Upon further review, our client has decided not to pursue this matter. He's trying to distance himself before the blowback hits. So it's over? The ownership dispute is over. I've already forwarded confirmation to your investors. Whether your relationship with your mother is over, that's a different question. I think I already know the answer to that one. Gerald Morrison called me the next morning. Victoria, I owe you an apology. We should have trusted your word from the beginning instead of letting a baseless claim derail the process. I understand why you had to verify. $3 million is a lot of money. Still, I'm sorry for the stress this caused. The good news is we're back on track. The first transfer will hit your account tomorrow. Tomorrow. After everything that had happened, it was actually going to happen tomorrow. Thank you, Gerald. You have no idea how much this means to me. Just build us a great company. That's all the thanks I need. The $750,000 appeared in my business account at 9:23 a.m. the following day. I stared at my phone screen, at those numbers, and started crying in the middle of a Starbucks in Harvard Square. It was real. It was actually real. I didn't hear from my mother or Emily for 3 months. The silence was both a relief and a constant ache. I threw myself into building my company, hired 2 developers, a marketing manager, and a part-time CFO. We rented a small office space in Kendall Square, and I started sleeping on an air mattress in the conference room to save money on rent. The platform launched in beta in June. By August, we had 47 small business clients. By October, we had 212. The growth was exponential, and the investors were thrilled. Then, on a Tuesday morning in early November, I got an email from Emily. Vic, I need to talk to you. It's important. Please call me. I debated ignoring it. But she was still my sister. So I called. Thanks for calling back, she said. Her voice sounded different, older somehow. I need to tell you something, and you're probably going to hate me for it. What's going on, Em? That ownership agreement Mom tried to use against you? I'm the one who helped her create it. I knew how to use Photoshop, and I helped her forge your signature. I'm so sorry, Vic. I was desperate and stupid, and I let Mom convince me that we deserved a piece of your success. I sat down slowly. You helped her try to destroy my company. Yes. Why are you telling me this now? Because I got a real job doing graphic design for a marketing firm in Cambridge. It's entry level, and the pay isn't great, but it's mine. I earned it, and I've been paying off my loans every month, slowly but surely, and I realized, her voice cracked, I realized that Mom was wrong, that I was wrong. You didn't owe us anything. You built something amazing through your own hard work, and we tried to take it from you because we were jealous and entitled. I didn't know what to say. I'm not asking for forgiveness, Emily continued. I just wanted you to know the truth, and I wanted to tell you that I'm proud of you. What you've built, what you've accomplished, it's incredible, and I'm sorry I almost destroyed it. What does Mom say about all this? We don't really talk anymore. After the lawyer thing fell apart, she became obsessed. She's convinced that you stole money from the family, that you owe us, that everything you have should be split 3 ways. I tried to tell her she was wrong, and she said I was a traitor. So I moved out. I'm renting a room in Somerville now. Em, I'm sorry. Don't be. This is on me, on us. You set boundaries, and we trampled all over them. She paused. I know you probably can't forgive me right now. Maybe not ever. But I wanted you to know that I'm trying to be better, to earn my own way like you did. I appreciate you telling me this, I said carefully. I need some time to process it all. I understand. Take all the time you need. We hung up. I sat in my office, my actual office with my name on the door and a window overlooking the Charles River, and thought about my family, about my mother's rage and Emily's complicity and the price of success. The real twist came 3 weeks later. I was meeting with potential clients in downtown Boston when I got a call from an unknown number. Normally, I wouldn't answer during a business meeting, but something made me excuse myself and pick up. "Is this Victoria Chen?" A woman's voice, professional and distant. "Yes, this is Victoria. My name is Sarah Brennan. I'm an attorney with Walsh & Associates. I'm calling regarding your mother, Linda Chen." My stomach dropped. What about her? Ms. Chen was recently terminated from her position at Northeast Medical Supply, where she'd worked for 18 years. She's alleging wrongful termination and age discrimination. During our investigation, her former employer provided us with some interesting information. "I don't understand what this has to do with me. For the past 6 months, your mother has been telling her colleagues that she owns 50% of a successful tech company worth over $8 million. She showed them documents, the same forged ownership agreement she tried to use against you. She claimed she was about to receive a massive payout and didn't need her job anymore." I closed my eyes. Of course she did. When her employer looked into these claims, Sarah continued, they discovered the documents were fraudulent. They also discovered she'd been using company time and resources to consult with lawyers about suing you and your investors. They terminated her for cause: fraud, misuse of company assets, and misrepresentation. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because your mother is now suing her former employer, claiming they fired her in retaliation for demanding a raise. But we have evidence that she was fired for legitimate reasons, specifically for committing fraud regarding her ownership of your company. We'd like you to provide testimony regarding the forged documents and the cease and desist letter she sent to your investors. You want me to testify against my mother. We want you to tell the truth about what happened. If you're willing, we can ensure your testimony is deposition only. You wouldn't have to appear in court." I thought about my mother sitting in her living room, surrounded by her home renovation shows, convinced that the world owed her something. I thought about her trying to destroy my company out of spite. I thought about Emily quietly working to fix her own life while my mother spiraled further into delusion. "I'll do it," I said. "Send me the details." The deposition was scheduled for December 15th. I sat in a conference room with Sarah, Brennan, her co-counsel, and a court reporter, and I told the truth. All of it. The forged documents, the fake ownership claim, the cease and desist letter, the fraud. My mother's lawyer tried to make me look like a vindictive daughter seeking revenge, but the evidence was overwhelming. I had Patricia Alvarez's entire file, including the response letter and the timeline proving the documents were fake. The case settled 2 weeks later. My mother's wrongful termination lawsuit was dismissed with prejudice, and she was required to pay Northeast Medical Supply's legal fees, approximately $47,000. Emily called me when she heard. "She's ruined, Vic. She had to sell the house. She's moving into a 1-bedroom apartment in Quincy. She's talking about filing for bankruptcy." "I'm sorry, Em." "Are you, though?" I thought about that. I'm sorry she destroyed her own life, but I'm not sorry I told the truth. "She's asking if you'll help her, financially." "No." I figured. "I told her you'd say that." Emily sighed. "She's talking about you like you're a monster, like you orchestrated this whole thing to punish her." "She orchestrated it herself. I just refused to lie for her." "I know. I just thought you should know what she's saying." "Thanks for the warning." My company hit its first million in revenue in March of the following year. By summer, we had expanded to 15 employees and were fielding acquisition offers from major logistics companies. I thought about my mother sometimes. I wondered if she blamed me for everything that had happened to her, or if some small part of her understood that she'd done this to herself. I wondered if she'd ever apologize. She never did. Emily and I slowly rebuilt our relationship. She came to my company's first anniversary party, and I helped her land a better graphic design position at one of my client companies. We had lunch every few weeks, carefully avoiding the subject of our mother. One afternoon in late August, sitting at a cafe in Cambridge, Emily looked at me with tears in her eyes. "Do you ever regret it?" she asked. "Setting those boundaries? Refusing to just give her what she wanted?" I thought about the $3 million contract, about my company that now employed 37 people and served over 3,000 small businesses across the country. I thought about the air mattress in the conference room, the 18-hour days, the fear, and the triumph. "No," I said, "I don't regret it at all." "Even though you lost Mom?" "I didn't lose her, Em. She chose this. She chose to forge documents and commit fraud and destroy her own career rather than accept that I had the right to build my own life. That was her choice, not mine." Emily nodded slowly. "I'm proud of you, for standing up for yourself. I wish I'd learned that lesson sooner." "You learned it when you needed to. That's what matters." We finished our lunch, and I went back to my office overlooking the Charles River. I had a board meeting at 3, a product launch at 5, and investor calls scheduled for the evening. I had built this. Not my mother, not my family, me. And no one could ever take that away. Before we end this story, I want to hear from you. What would you have done in my situation? Would you have given in to your family's demands, or would you have stood your ground like I did? Drop your thoughts in the comments below and let me know where you're watching from. I love connecting with viewers from all over the world. And if you found this story valuable, if it resonated with something you've experienced in your own life, please hit that subscribe button. I share new revenge stories every week, and trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next. This is Victoria Chen, reminding you that sometimes the strongest thing you can do is refuse to set yourself on fire to keep someone else warm. Thank you for listening.